Hey guys, back with another video. Today we're talking about, I just successfully completed my 30-day Nofap journey, and I just want to give you guys some of the reflections I've made, some of the benefits I've seen in my life, as well as some tips for how I personally was able to make it the 30 days, which was not easy for me. I've had this goal in mind for years, and I finally made it. I wish I could have done it earlier. I personally had to kind of reach rock bottom, I think was a part of why I was finally able to make it, where really my PIED got to a point that was unbearable and too painful for me. Not being able to perform is, it's not fun, and it doesn't feel good. It kind of feels like a part of your life is destroyed, like a big part of your life, and you don't know when it's going to work again. Fortunately for me, it took not that long, and that's very fortunate for me because I consider myself to have been very addicted and really consuming porn in probably some of the most unhealthy ways possible, such as edging a lot. I don't want to go into too much detail in these videos, but I would say I was consuming it in, some of the worst ways possible, where a lot of people who do that for a while, it takes them months or years even. I've heard some stories for them to, for their PIED to go away. So I feel very fortunate, but that rock bottom was one of the major motivations that I think helps me get to this point and kind of really rethink my life and rethink my life situation and get myself under control. Because yes, that was the rock bottom, but wow, it was really affecting so many parts of my life. And yeah, so I guess I'll get into some benefits real quick, and then I'll get into some tips for how I made it through the 30 days. So really the biggest benefit is just not feeling numb. Like, it's just every day I feel life much more vibrantly. Like today, for example, I feel it very vibrant. And also, before I really get going, I want to say that early on in the month, I was doing more semen retention, but one week, like the previous week before this week, especially, I had, there was a lot of times where I did have sex, and that's fine with me. I know a lot of people say hard mode reboot is really the only way to do it, but I don't necessarily see it that way. But I do think that it can make it more difficult. If you do have sex, in some ways it does make it more difficult because of the chaser effect. So once you orgasm from sex, it's going to make the craving stronger. For me, at least, this is how it works. For the next couple days, the cravings are just really, really strong after you orgasm. So yeah, just wanted to clarify that. So some other benefits, other than just feeling more vibrant, more alive, more emotions, is really there's a lot of things that follow that. Because you feel more emotions, you're forced to face your life situation, which you were probably running away from if you are very addicted. And for me, that led to a lot of my ego getting hurt, like feeling, getting angry because of situations, or because of how people treat me. And some of this might be because I wasn't setting boundaries prior to this journey. And now because I'm feeling those emotions more, and I'm more alive, I feel the need to set boundaries, which I should have been setting to begin with. So that's a positive right there, is having more boundaries being set in my life with people, and Another thing that follows off of just having stronger emotions is I need to find outlets, ways to handle these emotions and ways to process these emotions, which really before I wasn't processing the events and the emotions in my life. And really just in the past week, I've really started journaling a lot, which really helps with processing life situations and getting a clearer handle on the correct action and the right way to go forward. And a lot of these life situations that you or I are going through are part of what's triggering you to want to use porn or to act sexually compulsive. So journaling is a very effective way to process these situations, to like kind of look at the situation and say, okay, right now this situation is stressing me out. This is how I'm thinking about it right now in my head, and it might be a dysfunctional way that you're thinking about it, and you need to kind of align your thinking with your goals in life and with your values. And by journaling, you can more consciously process these situations and your emotions. And not only will this alleviate your cravings, because you're going to be able to think about your life situation in a much more healthy and productive way. But obviously you're going to develop yourself and be moving in the direction that you want to go, rather than falling back into dysfunctional thought patterns. So this has actually been very, very helpful to me. Like, for example, yesterday before work, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I was just feeling very angry. And it was a combination of a life situation, kind of a relationship situation, and just the cravings. Because right now I am actually on a semen retention streak. I believe I'm on day 7. So that's when it starts feeling really intense for me. And while at the same time having this life situation, so I journaled a lot. And I really, by journaling and kind of writing it all out, I realized which parts of my thought process were dysfunctional and that I needed to kind of, move a little bit and have a different way of thinking about it. And that really alleviated a lot of the anger. And another thing I noticed yesterday while I was going through this episode of anger, and it really lasted for hours, but the journaling alleviated it, and then it slowly went away after that, where I would kind of change the way I was thinking about it. Also, at my job, there is a lot of social interaction. So now a lot of the time, where I've always considered myself a pretty deep introvert, I still consider myself an introvert, but yesterday when I was angry and after I journaled and I went to work, socializing really energized me and it made me feel better, which is really interesting. It's kind of the opposite of how I normally am, where socializing is usually draining, especially if it's with people who I'm not super, super close with. So that's a benefit as well, where socializing can be energizing. And when I'm not on a Nofap streak, I usually don't even really enjoy socializing unless it's with very specific people. But wow, like yesterday, a lot of the time on this 30-day streak, wow, just socializing, just basic socializing with strangers or people I barely know is so enjoyable. And I'm so interested in getting to know people and understanding other people's perspectives. And of course, interacting with females is can be extremely enjoyable, and just feeling the energy, feeling kind of my masculine energy and their feminine energy. There doesn't even have to be words. You can kind of just feel this exchange of energy, and it's incredible. And it's a world that's completely non-existent for me when I'm not on a streak, when I'm not doing Nofap. I'm just completely numb to this entire world of energy, of masculine, feminine, of just picking up on people's vibes. That's just another huge benefit. So I've kind of gone into a bunch of benefits. I feel like I might be rambling, so I want to go into a few tips maybe. And I'll say really the first tip, as I already said kind of early on, was I think the major thing that really got me going on this streak was hitting rock bottom, having this very strong emotional drive to finally make 30 days. And that was just my PIED getting to a point where I couldn't perform at all for, the past year. I've just had so many bad sexual experiences and then it got worse and worse. And it was just at a point where it just was so painful. It was so painful. And then thinking about going forward in that way where I can't perform, thinking about a life going forward where I can't perform and how that's going to affect me and my relationships, and how obviously I won't be able to get the girl of my dreams in that situation. And do I really want to have a life where I'm consuming porn but I can't even have sex? Like, that's just disgusting and like just not acceptable at all. So after reflecting on that and just experiencing that pain, it's just such a powerful motivator. So I think finding a motivator like that for you is kind of a foundation, just having an emotional buy-in. Because for me, I can figure it out logically, but I think the real challenge for me is dealing with emotions and dealing with, life situations that get you down. And you really need that emotional buy-in to handle those instances where you really just start feeling like fuck it. Like you just want to relapse. I'm going to try not to curse too much, but I just couldn't help it there. So that's the first thing, is finding your emotional buy-in. Like, what really, really gets you angry or gets you excited about porn and quitting, and how is it ruining your life? Because I'm sure if you really dig deep, even if you don't have extreme PIED, it is preventing you from really pursuing your dreams. It's just draining your energy. I'm sure in some way it really is messing up your life. So the first thing is just getting that emotional buy-in, and journaling probably about, what it is that you really want to buy into emotionally about quitting. Really, really honing in on your emotional buy-in. Why you need to quit. So that was really the foundation for this 30-day streak. And as I also said already, journaling, especially if you have a difficult life situation that is unfolding. If you feel very, very triggered by a life situation, journal about it and think about how your thinking is dysfunctional, and how to align your thinking with your goals and your values. Because a lot of the time your thinking is going to be very short term. It's going to be very like me, for example. A lot of the dysfunctional thinking that I have is about status, like, oh, this girl is showing me signs of disapproval, which means that I'm low value, I'm low sexual value, I'm low social value. But all of that is dysfunctional and is going to lead me towards, dark paths of porn or, low self-esteem. So what I realize is I take a longer term look, which is not easy, but journaling helps you do that. And I realize, I'm on my path. I just made 30 days, for example, which I've been wanting to do. That's been a goal for a long time, but I finally did it. Like, I'm finally on that path and changing my life. So, that's all I got to do, is be on the right path, be in alignment with my goals and aspirations. And you know what? This one girl's approval of me does not dictate my value. My value is dictated by my achieving long-term goals and success. So, that's one way that journaling and really taking into account your thought processes and changing them and making them more functional and in alignment with your life will help on making a 30-day streak. Another thing, obviously, is obviously just developing a list of things you can do instead. Some of the ones that are most effective for me, as I said, journaling. Also, calling friends. Similar to journaling, calling friends. Obviously, you don't want to lean on one friend too hard, but calling a friend and getting their advice on your life situation, like being humble. And a lot of the time they can learn from it too, and they might have something that they want to bounce off of you. This can be so therapeutic and helpful. That makes me think also, like, I haven't done this, but I've been meaning to try therapy. I've never done therapy, but I bet that would be helpful as well, or it could be helpful if you have a good connection with your therapist. I'd say those are some of the biggest things. For me personally, I stay out of the house. I really, really stay out of the house. Obviously, if I'm in public, I'm not going to be able to relapse. So I do my best to stay busy and stay out of the house. That's another obvious one. So, and to help with that, scheduling ahead, figuring out your plans like for the weekend well in advance, so that the weekend doesn't roll around and you all of a sudden you don't have any plans and now you're bored and you're starting to get urges. So scheduling ahead your plans. But I think this is a really long video. This is the longest video I've ever made. So I'm gonna end it there. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, please leave comments, let me know, let me know your situation if this is helpful. So I'll see you guys next video.